Now, I would ask my senior in the scientific committee, Dr. Kudlu, to please introduce our new star from Pondicherry, Dr. Vivekanandan.
Thank you, Parikshit. I think can you see my slide? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
we
We
can.
can see.
It's my pleasure to invite Dr. Vivekanandan, who is the head of service at Arvind Eye Hospital, Pondicherry. Of course, his area of interest is secondary IOL procedure. He has done a lot of training, and he has his main interest to building of hospitals, especially surgical training, even in Ethiopia, Cambodia, and Tanzania. It's very much privileged to even introduce him. He has done a lot of wet lab instruction, especially in AO and ACRS. I think we are eager to hear you, Vivekanand. So he'll be presenting some interesting case about the SACS. Word to you, Vivekanandan.
Thank you very much for the wonderful introduction, sir. Let me just share my screen. So today I will be talking about first of all, I would like to thank the AOS committee for giving me this opportunity. And I'll be talking about the primary single haptic iris fixation technique in the management of large PCR, the SICS way. So in the age of phacoemulsification, when we are going to have a small pupil combined with pseudoexfoliation, hard cataract, and phacodonosis, it is going to be very difficult to perform phaco. It is going to cause more problems to the patient than solve any. So in these scenarios, M6 will be the best option for any type of surgeon. So SICS is a very important tool that everyone should know. So as we know, iris fixation was introduced by Dr. McCannell, and since there is a lot of other secondary IOL procedures like SFIOL and iris claw, it has taken a back seat. But now the single haptic iris fixation is there to minimize problems and will be as a primary procedure when we have problems. So I'll be showing a couple of case scenarios. So the first case scenario. So this pseudo exfoliation patient with gross phacodonosis, as we can see. So where there is a relatively hard nucleus, NS3 to 4 nucleus, which was delivered. And while cortex was, we could see that the inferior bag was totally weak. Since it was a very large rectus, there was no support inferiorly. So in this case, ideally what will happen is the patient will go in for will be planned for us SFIOL later on. But here what we do is as a primary procedure, we are going to proceed with a single haptic fixation. So here we use a 10-0 Prolene suture with a long curved needle. The needle size will be approximately around 1.5 centimeters, so that it passes through the limbus and comes out through the limbus after piercing the iris twice. So this image describes, so after the bite is taken, the suture is externalized. So how do we externalize? By gently tapping on the iris, the suture is pushed down, and with the help of a Kuglen's hook or a Sinskey, it is gently pulled out into the outside there. Once that step is done, the leading haptic in this case, which had to go inferiorly, is looped a couple of times onto the haptic, and then, so as we see, multiple loops. I prefer to do 4 to 5 loops so that even if one loop slips, the IOL is going to be stable. So once the looping is done, the IOL is gently placed in the sulcus area, and the trailing haptic is placed over the capsule. So the main point to take here is it is always better not to dial these lenses. You have to use a forceps to place the IOL inside. If the pupil is small, like in this case, it is always advisable to use iris hooks subincisionally, not on the site where you have the sutures, but in this case, subincisional, you can have iris hooks to make sure that your haptic goes in the sulcus area and not behind the PC. So, and the other important point to note here is, it is always when you are placing the suture behind the iris, and you have to pull the sutures to tighten it. So you should always be careful when you're pulling the suture away from the optic haptic junction. So when you're pulling the suture away from the optic haptic junction, chances of the loops to slip away is there. So always make sure you pull the right side suture, the one that is closer to the optic haptic junction first, so that it tightens around the haptic, and then you pull on the other side to center the IOL. So once that part is done, the sutures are trimmed externally and then are internalized. So internalized meaning, so the sutures pointing out from the cornea are trimmed probably to 3 to 4 centimeter in length, and then they are internalized using a spatula. So once both the sutures are inside, it is always important to make a paracentesis right in between the two bites, so that both the sutures are externalized through the common paracentesis. Once the externalization is done, then it's pretty much simple. All you have to do is tie the suture, trim the knots, and then push the knot back into the anterior chamber through the same paracentesis. So the way of finding out if the suture has passed underneath the haptic, it is still intact, is when you pull the suture, you will see the iris lifting up. So when the iris is lifting, you can be sure that the haptic is, the sutures are around the haptic. In this case, I didn't have to do any vitrectomy because there was no vitreous loss, only inferior loss of bag was there. So this can be done as a primary procedure. And one other case scenario that I would like to share is, so this is a hard round cataract where phacoemulsification was attempted. Normal 6 millimeter excis was done, and chopping was done. So when I got the first chop right, and when I was going for the second chop, the hold was not so good. So we could see a zonular dialysis inferiorly. So I tried to salvage the bag with the capsule hooks, but when I was emulsifying the last quadrant, it ended up in a posterior capsular tear. So the primary corneal incision was posteriorly extended into the sclera and then converted into a sclerocorneal canal. And then anterior vitrectomy was performed. Ideally, it is better to do anterior vitrectomy before, after placing the bite. In this scenario, I had to do anterior vitrectomy. So after doing anterior vitrectomy and assessing the amount of capsule, in this case, superiorly this is a temporal section, superior capsule was there, inferiorly there was no support, so inferior bite was taken. And in the same way, the sutures were externalized, looped around the haptic, and then placed inside the eye. So this is a sutureless way of managing such complications. You don't have to leave the patient aphakic, and it can be done as a primary procedure. So if you have enough back support for one haptic, it is more than enough. It is a time-saving procedure. It can be done as a primary technique, and the post-operative inflammation is very minimal. You don't need any fancy equipment or fancy specially designed intraocular lenses. All you need is a Kuglen hook and 10-0 Prolene suture with a long curved needle. It can be done as a primary procedure and also as a secondary procedure. If you have enough back support, secondary procedure when you're attempting to place the IOL, if there is enough support, you don't have to go for an SF-IOL, which is more tedious. You can opt for a simple single haptic iris fixation procedure. It has its advantages over scleral fixation and iris claw as a primary procedure. The main take-home messages that I would like to say is proper assessment before planning where to take the bite with Kuglen hook. So Kuglen hook is a very important instrument that you need. And preferably the first suture bite has to be done before the anterior vitrectomy and not after the anterior vitrectomy, because once you've done the anterior vitrectomy, the eye is going to be very soft, and you cannot take the bite properly. You cannot plan it according, it will not come according to how you want it. And perform a proper anterior vitrectomy if there is any vitreous. Ideal to use a 3-piece IOL. It can be a rigid IOL, or like in the second case, you can use a 3-piece acrylic lens as well, foldable lens as well. And the most important thing is not to dial the IOL. So once the leading haptic or whichever haptic is fixed, don't try to dial. When you're dialing, what happens is the loops kind of tend to slip out from the haptic, which might cause an IOL drop. So always you can use an iris hook, like I said before, to place the IOL properly in the sulcus, or you can use a forceps, pronate, and then release. And the sutures should not be tied very tightly over the iris. You don't want the sutures to crush the iris tissue. the sutures, make sure that it forms a loop over the iris. It doesn't touch the cornea nor the iris. So in that way, post-operatively, there won't be any problem in having
If you can
dilatation.
finish in half a minute.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. I would request Dr. Devashish Bhattacharya to give his comments on this wonderful presentation. Or Dr. Sahu, sir.
Sahu sir, we are not able to hear you.
Sahu, sir, if you can speak a bit louder.
I think it's not audible.
Is not audible.
Sahu,
Even,
sir.
Dr. Vivekanandan, I wanted to ask you, have you done any studies regarding decentration? Have you tested the amount of decentration which it generates?
Sir, usually the decentration is associated when we plan to do a double haptic and both the sutures are not in the right place. But in single haptic, it is very much easy. Before even tying the knot, you can pull the suture, tighter it, make the IOL centered and place it. Very rarely you see a decentration when we're doing a single haptic fixation.
Have you calculated any amount of tilt in your study? Have you done?
Yes, sir. We have done that. It kind of resembles the posterior capsule IOL that we generally use. We've even have a video of we've tried using the ASOCT microscope to assess how it comes, and they were perfectly normal. There wasn't much tilt. So before making the permanent knot, it is very important to tighten. That's why I'm saying, have the suture a little bit looser on the iris so that it doesn't tilt to one side. It stays in the PCB.
Thank you, Vivekanandan.
Great. Thank you. So,